I'm not happy right now. I'm gonna just get straight to the point. The U.S. education system um needs to be changed desperately because right now I think we're at the time frame where you know violence, misconduct, sexual activity, all of that in schools has become basically normal. Like back where I go to school, I remember some of my peers showing me fights and all that, and um yeah, no, like this is this is oh my god. That's like my breaking point right there. That's where I drew the line. That's where I had the idea to make this video. Like school fights are so prevalent, and you obviously have the two or like three people fighting. I don't know why I did that motion like that. I was trying to you know pictured like two people fighting, like fighting. You have the bystanders who yeah, don't do shit. Now what I mean by that, I mean, yeah, you roll the dice essentially when you're a bystander. The time to intervene's right there, but it could come at a cost, unfortunately. Now, I'm not necessarily advocating for any of these things, to happen. I just want these to stop because these have unfortunately become the norm. Now, back to the U.S. education system. It has so many major flaws, and yet, the government doesn't really um look at it that much. Oh no, education is important. It's one of the most important things you can give to your kid, and the government isn't just it's just gonna you know throw it out the window. Because what's really important are the cutting down on U.S. aid. Trying to dismantle associations that help with poor and disabled people. Yeah, let's do that. How about we don't improve the US education system? Yeah. And that's when my Clark started to tick. That's when my volcano started to erupt. Now, I'm going to give you an example of why it needs to change, how we can change it, and when can it change. So, for example, the Greenfield Intermediate School incident, which involved a kid. The 10-year-old kid was named Sammy Toish, or Touche, I'm not sure. He was constantly bullied. He came back home with bruises, and eventually his trauma caught up to him, and he unfortunately um offed himself on May 4th, 2024. And the bullies, here, let me give you a few seconds. I want you to guess how many. No, not how many. Were the bullies punished? Let me give you a few seconds. If your answer was yes, then I'm sorry to say, but you're wrong. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that is deprived. That symbolizes something that I can't explain. Something that ignites hatred. Something that ignites, bitterness. And I'm not going to say any other examples, but there are other countless examples right there on the internet. You could just search up, school fights, or, there's news channels that talk about this kind of stuff. It's all deprived, it's all messed up, and I can't figure out why the government won't do anything about it. I don't understand why they won't do anything about it. Not even a minor change either. So how can we change the education system? For one, um, there's the money. The U.S. is the U.S. has money, and we can establish more profound and more necessary courses and classes, like teach kids about necessary topics, like what to do when you're an adult. There has to be some kind of enforcement that won't get kids to get into fights about probably petty things. I've never been into a fight, so I'll probably eat my own words there, but I'm just saying. I don't know. There are a lot of I choked so hard there. There are a lot of other things we can do. It's possible. It's possible. That's the thing. But that possibility isn't too high right now. Now, another example. Yeah, second. Uh, yeah, bus drivers. If there has to be at least some sort of background check on bus drivers, because sometimes bus drivers can get outrageously malicious. And I'm not going to give an exact example, but the internet's right there. The internet's basically my evidence because it's black and white, it's on paper, it won't get erased, even if it is deleted. Well, that just yeah, it's a huge problem, man. And coming from a freshman, this just hits me more. I wish that there's a better future, for the education system and all. But with Trump doing these ridiculous things, it's unlikely that it'll ever happen. I mean, it's not just violence; it's stupidity as well. On the video that inspired, this video, there was this one comment where there was this other guy came up to him and said that he was a dumbass. So he asked him to name 5 countries that weren't Canada, the US, or Mexico, and he named 5 states. If that doesn't spell mental disintegration, then I don't know what does. I know it seems that as if I made it that there's no hope, but there is. I know there is. There's a special place in my heart that tells me that there is hope. There is a chance. A change can come. But that's the thing, it can. Not that it will. It can.